Hey there, folks. Welcome back to Save Your Bacon, an advice comedy podcast where we think we're helping. My name is Will.
And my name is Zane. And fun fact, for the first time in 2019, I got my hair cut. And the funnest part about that is that means that this is the first time I've cut my hair since this podcast has started existing.
Zane, you do understand that that's like very common for like half of the population of the earth to not cut their hair.
Sorry to cut you off, Will, but I've got a question to get us right into it. Are you ready for this question?
Yeah, hit me.
All right. This question comes from Captain Jacked Nips. And the question is magic but only in buildings? And there's context. I was in a building the other day. I got stuck in the elevator and I was not having it, so I got mad and proceeded to kick the door super hard. The moment I kicked the door, the elevator started moving again.
Oh.
I've come now to realize I'm clearly made of magic, but my powers only exist when I'm inside buildings. What are the biggest pros and cons to my newfound curse?
What are the biggest pros and cons to your newfound curse? I mean, here's the thing. If you ever get called a witch or a heretic or something like that, you can say, okay, take me outside and prove it to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you can't prove that I'm magic. Take me outside, tell me to do something, just in an outdoor location.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it'd suck as if they're like, hey, we're putting you on trial, and you're like, whatever, big deal. And they say inside, and you say, oh no.
Yeah, pro. If you get thrown in prison for doing magic, we know you can get out. I'm sorry we're back here, but you can get yourself out. You do have magic.
For anybody that hasn't listened to the show before, we once had a question that led to us talking about a prison full of magicians and
all trying to prove that they can all get out and just trying to get thrown back in jail. Yeah.
And now you can show off your skills there because you know that very specifically you're great at what you do while you're inside.
I'm wondering if it's just the kicks that's magical. Is it just doors? Is it just technology? Is it that you have some sort of like technomancy sort of toe?
Techno toe.
Where you kick it and it just works. Techno toe. Where that would be your superhero name or villain. You do you. That would be your superpower. It's just the one magical toe that you can kind of just make things work the way you want to the moment you kick them.
Mm-hmm.
Not the greatest. I'd rather take Magneto on my team if I'm gonna be honest, but still useful.
Now, I like to imagine, like, you called it a curse, so I think you already know some cons. I think
you're made of magic. How in the world is that a curse? Do you think there's anybody out there who's just like, oh, I have magical powers, I'm gonna do special things that make it go my way? Really? Yeah, it's a curse. No, it ain't. That's a good thing, you little whiner. That is a cup half empty, if you ask me.
See, the thing is, if you're inside the elevator and it's not moving and you need to get moving, sure, blessing. If you're just at a hotel and you're waiting on the elevator and the darn thing won't move and you say, come on, and you kick the outside of the door, and then all of a sudden, whoever's in that elevator, it just starts going to crash into the floor.
So it works too well,
yeah,
you're saying. I mean, could you kick it again to make it do better, or do you have zero control over this power? If you have zero control, then you're right, it is a curse.
Maybe it's like that movie Chronicle that I hope everybody has seen, where...
No.
where you...
No, I don't think so.
You've got this power that you don't know what to do with it, so you slowly learn to harness it, but it drives you mad with power, and so you start using it.
That's the only story that is a coming-of-age of magic sort of type arc. Yeah, I agree. That's the only place that's ever happened.
That and Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I was thinking of the same thing. Those might be the only two. Anyways, if you didn't have control, that'd be very bad. I can imagine it going quite poorly. You're trying to make like waffles and you put down the waffle iron and all of a sudden it like flash burns the whole waffle and starts your house on fire. What are you going to kick to stop that?
Right.
Can you kick the fire extinguisher and just have it blow up and stop the entire fire?
I think that you could just do that if you had a really good kick, whether or not you had the magic, huh?
Are you inside a building if it's on fire?
Say that again.
At what point, how much fire needs to have happened to a house before your powers wear out? Do you understand what I'm asking?
I definitely heard you say, "Are you still inside a building if it's on fire?" Yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, I'm saying how much of the house has to burn down before you lose your powers?
Just gotta get this out. You call 911, you say, help, my house is on fire. They say, okay, ma'am, are you inside the house? And you say, yes, I am. And they say, no, no, you're not. It's on fire.
No, you don't understand.
No, you're not. This
I'm
is a
talking
prank.
about in the context of the magical powers, right? I'm saying, does it still count as a building for as far as your magical powers go? I know, I understand you're still in a building if it's on fire. You can't call and say, I'm in a building that's on fire and say, no, you're not. It's on fire. I understand. That doesn't make sense. But
I completely get what you're saying. I do.
okay, so how much of the building must screw it. It doesn't matter.
I think the whole point being necessarily whether or not you still had magic powers and the building was on fire.
You are not flame retardant, so you'll probably die before your powers wear off. Is the answer?
So blessing, pros and cons to your curse or whatnot. If the building sets on fire while you're in the elevator the next time and the elevator stops, I don't think your powers are gonna get you out of that sticky situation.
Because it's not a building any longer.
Yeah. Now it's just.
Yeah.
Now it's just.
An elevator a building?
Is an elevator a building?
Yeah.
It's
just an elevator.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a building?
Are we talking literally just the thing you stand in, or the whole elevator shaft too?
Take your pick. If you just had an elevator shaft, is that a building?
If you had the elevator shaft, I would say yes, because you have floors that you stop at, and then whether it's the first, second, third, or fourth, whatever, you can walk out and fall to the ground outside because there's nothing but an elevator shaft. We're gonna make a building, Will and I, for all the listeners, and it's gonna be located right in the middle of Singapore, and it's gonna be called the Shaft. And it's all you do is you press one button on the ground that is an up elevator button, and then it comes down, and you can get in it, and then it takes you up 5 floors, and then you jump out into a swimming pool, and that's the whole thing.
That's the entire.
The building is called Shaft, and the pool is not ours. It's just conveniently next to the elevator shaft.
It really saved us on the liability stuff. So I did look up the definition of building.
Okay.
A structure with roof and walls. So
okay.
I think an elevator counts, if you ask me. If it has a roof and it has walls, it is a building all of a sudden. So even if the rest of the building burnt down, you would still have your powers. Question answered.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Okay. So you're saying even if the building itself lost the roof, considering that the elevator still has its roof, you're fine.
You are building. Yes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask a question now. Are you prepared?
I am not. Go for it.
Hey guys, welcome to Middle Stuff. I just Will checking in here, wanted to say hey. It didn't seem like you had anything else going on, so I thought I'd just mention a few things about who we are and what we do. Not really who we are. I don't think you really cared that much about it, but I did want to say you should go check a little rate and review for us on social media if you haven't done already. You could follow us on a couple different things, which Zane will talk about, but our podcast itself exists on, in case you didn't know all the different places, it was at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. YouTube in particular we only mentioned because we do segment out every question that we get asked, so that if you wanted to show your friends like a specific portion of an episode that you really enjoyed in order to get them into it, you should do that. But yeah, otherwise, like I said, send us a rate or review. That really helps us with publicity and getting seen, so that we can continue to grow this awesome community that we have so far.
We're in the middle with you guys, and thank you so much for being a part of the podcast. If this entire show runs on you guys, so if you want to send in your questions, you can email them to us at saveyourbaconpodcast@gmail.com. That is saveyourbaconpodcast@gmail.com.
Are we gonna get copy striked for that?
Do I get copy stricken?
Are we gonna get copy struck
For me playing literally part of a song that just says, I'll be in the middle?
I've heard worse stories.
All right, well, no. If they want to, that's lame. We also do have social medias like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Zane and Will at Save Your Bacon Podcast. You can use hashtags Zane and Will and hashtag Save Your Bacon if you want to try and contact us easier. Email is the easiest way to do it by far. But again, this entire show runs off of you guys. All of your weird, wacky ghost stories and questions that you want advice on, they are the fuel to our fire. So just keep sending them in, and then we will do our best to possibly maybe give you some advice, if not just give ourselves advice on how to properly answer questions the next time. All right, speaking of, do you want a question, Will?
You don't need my permission.
I do. Dad said...
Do the question.
All right. This question comes from user Paperjam, and the question is, modern day red paperclip? There's this old cool story of a guy who took a red paperclip and made small trades with other folks, slowly trading up for larger and larger items until he eventually
you never heard of this?
Gets an apartment. Yeah, no, I totally have.
Wait, an apartment?
Yeah.
I'll let you keep going.
Until eventually he gets an apartment with a year of free rent. I want to do this. I want a new Tesla car.
Yeah, me too, dummy.
I
would love to do that. It sounds good. Trade me up.
Let's cut you off right there. Same. All of us would love to start with a paperclip and then just not have to pay rent
for a year.
Isn't that
free apartment?
Yes. What? Yes. Okay. Well,
just keep going.
All right,
anyways,
cool. I want to do this. I want a new Tesla car. But the only thing I have to trade away is a bag of potato chips from Panera, which I've already eaten some of.
My only belonging.
Why do you suck?
Other than my phone, which I'm typing on, but that doesn't count.
I'm not going to trade away my phone. I ate some of these chips and they were not too great. So I'll give them to someone else, but I'll tell them that they were really great and I just had to share. And that's why now I'm handing them off.
I mean, it's probably still worth more than a paperclip, right?
Right. Well, it's got to be. They asked...
half a bag of chips. I don't know. If it was a stranger, I wouldn't trust that garbage.
They're asking, how do I get from some salty chips to a sweet ride?
Oh, boy.
Now, I am very curious. Is you start at half bag of chips, right? And we're talking not giant family-sized chips, like Panera-sized chips, which are... pretty dang small, like a little bit bigger than a Rubik's Cube worth of chips.
What?
The bag is like this big.
Rubik's Cube worth of chips?
Yeah, the bag is like yay big.
You're giving me visuals on an audio format.
Hey, and then inside that bag is a Rubik's Cube size amount of chips.
That sounds like a lot of chips. Chips are not dense.
Hey,
I just can't believe you decided to use a Rubik's Cube, something that has... I mean, I guess it's decently universally sized, but
right?
Still, like, are we talking density? Are we talking just, like...
I'm talking...
Size?
I'm not talking like the
I'm
freaking
just
massive
baffled that you thought
chip.
that was the way that you wanted to use, like, a proportion to measure chips by. You couldn't have been like an ounce.
All right, tell me how you would have said. You would have said
An
this.
ounce.
All right, you.
I would have done a regular bag of chips worth, which is an ounce.
All right, you know what I'm doing? I'm looking this up. How many chips are in
It's a Rubik's
a
Cube.
bag of Panera chips? You're gonna have to suck on this.
Yeah, your
Will.
first thing that's gonna come up is definitely gonna be Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, right there. Boom. All right. How many chips are in one bag? It says one bag's worth. Thank you. NASA, you found another one.
NASA, we got it again.
Come
He did it. He cracked the code.
Oh no.
So how many calories is in a Rubik's Cube?
All right, yeah, here. How many calories are in one Rubik's Cube? Because we don't want them thinking just like as many as 3 Rubik's Cubes. Just one Rubik's Cube. How much energy? No, not energy does it take to solve one? How many calories are in one Rubik's Cube?
That's bound to do it, yes.
All right, let's see.
I did find it. Guess what? It's 1 ounce.
In what?
Nerd. It's 1 ounce of potato chips.
Not Rubik's Cube?
Not Rubik's Cube. How heavy is a Rubik's Cube? Is that your next question?
How heavy is a Rubik's Cube?
Yeah, I'm getting it in grams. It isn't helping me.
132 grams.
Yep, I got that too. Now give me in ounces.
That's exactly what I did. 4 ounces.
That's 4 ounces?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking a quarter of a Rubik's Cube worth of chips.
I'm so glad we got there.
I'm glad we finally landed there. I can't wait to see what
Thank
editing
you.
magic you pull off
I'm
in
not
order to make that
what-
listenable.
All right, so what we found out for you question asker is you have a little less than 1/4 of a Rubik's Cube worth of potato chips to sell off because you've eaten
By
some.
weight.
Yes. Now, you've got to find someone. If you use these facts, maybe you can trade it for a Rubik's Cube and quietly you're already winning the trade.
I think that whoever this red paperclip person was probably an avid salesman, and so he probably really sold up whatever he was trying to give away because he got something better every time, right? It wasn't just like, what will you give me for this, because you'll often get pretty bad trades, I'm guessing. We also don't know how long it took him, but either way, I think you have to convince people. You go up to them with your, dude, we didn't factor in the fact that he ate a couple chips already.
Yeah.
He has almost a quarter. You go up and you say, this is almost 1/4 of a Rubik's Cube worth of chips.
Exactly.
Think about that for a minute. Think about that. I'll give you a moment.
Yeah.
And you give them a moment. And you say, now what would you give me for this?
And then they
And
say,
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with what you get in turn.
right, and they'll say, but are they good? And you say, oh, I've eaten a couple of these chips in this bag.
Several are missing.
I know that they are good.
They're in me currently.
I know they're good. And
the chips are a part of me. They have nourished me, and I'm here today still.
that means if you buy this bag, a part of what I have encountered will also be a part of what you have encountered, and in that way we will become brothers.
We will be close after this, is what I'm trying to tell you. So it's more of an emotional cost as well. What is the emotional weight worth to you? It's probably worth more than 1/4 of a Rubik's Cube, is what I'm guessing. Okay, so I've actually done this game before.
Okay.
Did you know this? Have I told you this story?
No.
Okay, I've done this before. On Halloween we did, because it's actually more acceptable to go up to strangers on Halloween than any other day.
Right.
Any other day of the year. And so as I did this my freshman year of college, where I went around. I started with, I believe, a pencil, and I would just I had a costume, and I would just go, and I had a bag in case they did have candy. But I would go and I'd say, hey, I have this, and we're just we're playing this game. What can you give me for this that's just a little bit better that you don't need? And we worked our way up. And I quit kind of early. I had to go or something.
Yeah.
I forget what for. Love those motorcycle noises.
Mm-hmm.
And but my friends came back later, and one of them had gotten 2 4-foot tall stuffed animals afterwards.
Wow.
So after a couple hours of trick or treating, from 5 to 7, they were trick or treating, and they came back, and it was you probably go to the store and buy these things for $80 each, and off of his whatever he started with, he got 2 4-foot tall stuffed animals.
Jeez.
And he asked me, what will you give me for this? And I had an electric guitar that I never used. So I gave him the electric guitar for those 2 giant stuffed animals. So I was like, heck yeah, 2 giant stuffed animals, why not? It was a gorilla and a giraffe, and Harambe was very popular at that time. He had a hole in his ankle, so that was the clear choice.
You just done swindled him. You just won trade of the century. You got two stuffed animals, and all it cost you was an electric guitar.
See, here's the catch-22.
All right.
He came back later and said he had no use for the guitar and gave
Are
it
you
back.
serious?
I got both. I am not kidding. I have it all. I have the guitar and I have the two stuffed animals.
That was the long game right there, Will.
I did not plan that, but I don't know. Maybe it was kind of snakish on my part. Maybe I did go back and I was like, oh, do you really need that guitar? But in the end, I did get it all. So I have won this game once.
You know what would be amazing, question asker, is if you could take a note out of Will's book here, and if by the end, when you get to the Tesla, let's say this. You've got a bag of chips.
You gave them a hot air balloon, and you get the Tesla, and then you ask them, hey, you have no use for that hot air balloon. Do you want to just toss it back this way?
This is what I was gonna say. It's a little bit better than getting a hot air balloon as well. It's all right. So let's work our way up for you. All right, you've got the bag of chips. You find a man on the street.
Do the whole hierarchy.
You find a man on the street, and he says, well, hey, isn't that bag just a little less than a fourth of a Rubik's Cube worth of chips?
Boy.
And you say, you know your stuff. And they say, what if I give you a full Rubik's Cube just to enjoy the taste of some of those chips? And you say, deal. You take the Rubik's Cube. You move on with that Rubik's Cube to the tournament of like where people solve Rubik's Cubes really, really fast.
Oh my
you set the new world record with that Rubik's Cube. That Rubik's Cube is now incredibly, incredibly valuable because it holds.
You sign it and you give it to a kid who's crazy about Rubik's.
It's. I'm mad for Rubik's.
I'm mad for Rubik's, boy.
It's signed. It's amazing. And then he says, "I'll give you my dad's record company." Because that's a fair trade-off.
Excuse me?
The world record holder for Rubik's Cube time for another record holder.
All right.
Now you run a new recording studio. All of a sudden Jay-Z comes in and says, "I've got this great album idea." And you say, "Here, let me stop you right there. I'll sell you this whole recording studio if you give me the rights to your music, all of your music." And he says, "That's a steal. Easy, take it." And so you do that. Fair enough. Now you've got all of the Jay-Z music. You go right to Elon Musk. Elon Musk, big fan of memes, if you don't know this online. Huge fan of memes. Meme man. You go right to him and he says, "Oh, I assume you want a flamethrower or a Tesla, because that's the only reason people talk to me." And you say, "Actually, yes, but in return, I'm going to give you every song that Jay-Z's ever created, but now it'll be owned by you." And he says, "You know I'm a fan of Jay-Z. You know this. You're playing with me." And you say, "No, I'm not playing with you. It's all right here." He says, "All right, fine. Just one Tesla and one flamethrower." And that's easy. That's easy peasy, easy money right there. Now, you've got a flamethrower in the back of your brand new Tesla because you've made it all the way up to a Tesla, right? After you've done everything that I've just mentioned, you're all the way up to a Tesla. And you know what you do? You drive to the corner where the guy gave you the Rubik's Cube, and you see him, and he's still there, and he's questioning whether or not to eat the last couple of chips. And you say, hey.
Or he's slow.
And you say...
Either one.
Either you work really fast or he eats chips incredibly slow. But
he's saving them for a rainy day.
He's still there, and you look...
It's been a lot of sun, and he's waiting for a rainy day.
You pull up in your brand new Tesla with your flamethrower, and you look right at him, and you say, "Hey, remember me? I was just there giving you those chips. How you liking them?" And he says, "And they're not really for me. Also, I just realized I don't really like potato chips that much." And you say, "I could take them off your hands." And he says, "Okay, sure." And now you've got the Tesla and the chips.
Thank you, Zane. What I learned is that Jay-Z is a meme. Okay, I'm gonna give you a story. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, I only say that because the sentence of this question asker started with, "Hey guys, I have a story for you."
Oh, good.
Hey guys, I have a story for you. I have a friend who invited me on a road trip with her this summer to go all the way to Portland, Oregon. Normally, I would love going to visit places, but I absolutely know that I could not spend the entire time with them alone in the car. They stop to pee every 30 minutes, always have music blasted way too loud, and get horrible road rage. I'd rather fly for these reasons, which is also cutting travel time by 22 hours. But when I suggest flying, they say it's too expensive, and they want the bonding time in the car. I have 5 weeks. Help. That's from Portable to Portland.
Wow. Wait, 5 weeks in the car or 5 weeks to decide?
No, I don't think that you would only cut 22 hours if it was a 5-week trip by flying instead of driving. I think they
I
have
haven't
5
been
weeks
on a
until the
plane.
trip starts.
I haven't been on a plane in a while, so
It's been a hot minute since I've been on a plane, Will. Who knows what they've discovered these days?
they've discovered
No,
a brand new way to fly called "be in the air for weeks."
Weeks on end. It's a good time, though. I'll tell you what. If you got nothing to do for 5 weeks, it's the place to be. No.
Excuse me, Mr. Manager. I'm gonna need some time off for vacation. Oh, sure. How long are you gonna be gone? About 2.5 months, and that's just because about a month and a half of that's gonna be in the air on the plane.
Yeah, I wanted to take a couple weeks to visit the folks, but mostly I just wanted to be up in the air for 5 weeks at a time. Okay, sounds good. They have 5 weeks until the road trip starts.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do in a scenario as such?
Well, the thing is, if it was me in the scenario as such, I would stop complaining and just go.
You would just do it
Because-
despite not wanting to be around the person.
I can get car sick slightly easily, so stopping every half an hour would be good for me. Blasting the music, well, that's also another perk. Like, that's the reason that I drive, is so that I can listen to music. Plus, you're going to get more scenic views on the ground than you are in the air. I
Are
mean,
you kidding me?
what's
You
the...
get some scenic views in a plane.
All right, well, you can also just use a drone on the ground. You boy. You big boy. You little big boy. You...
I guess you could just drive the plane on the ground too, huh?
Don't do this to me.
Just go.
Wait a minute. We haven't even discussed this yet. Is your road trip, are you taking a car or are you taking a plane? Are they just being idiots? Are you guys all road tripping?
I think they want to
around?
take a car. It's not a road trip if you take a plane, is it?
No. Are you road tripping on a on a plane that has not taken off, and you're just upset that they won't take off?
Yeah, you're just gonna take a 20-something hour trip across the freeway in a 747, right?
And you're on the, really all it is it's a plane that just won't take off, and you keep just leaning to the people that are next to you, and you just say, when's this thing gonna get in the air, am I right? And they say it's not, it's a road trip, and you're just like, that doesn't make any sense. Why does it have wings? Why aren't we in the air? Why aren't we doing this faster?
Shoot dang, this is a bus. Yeah, when you buy a plane ticket and end up on a bus.
What do you think would be the worst thing to take a road trip in? This is a better question. I know that the people
the worst thing
might suck, but
I mean, probably like motorcycle. Really, are we talking just like cars or any sort of transportation?
Any single thing that can get you from point A to point B. What is the worst thing that you could take as a road trip?
How conceptual are we talking here?
You could take a goddamn turtle if you wanted.
Well, it's just too broad, Zane. I can't make up my mind. I think that the worst way to do it would probably be Uber, just because the cost,
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's a good one. I mean, the price would be ridiculous,
astronomical.
Plus, if they're stopping every 30 minutes and they're also playing music that you don't like, then that's even way worse. Also, if they keep telling you, are we there yet? And you say, no, I paid for you to drive the whole way. They say, please, I want to go home.
Please, I have a family. I haven't slept in 86 hours. Yeah.
And you're yelling, no, I paid you to get
all
me...
or nothing, pal. If you don't get me to my destination, you're getting 0 stars. And there goes your reputation as a driver.
He says, oh no. And then he floors it. And then and then you're flying down the highway.
And then he blacks out from sleep exhaustion. Yeah.
Side note, what happens if you're in an Uber and the Uber gets pulled over?
Or you crash.
All right, not what I asked, but what is that?
No, just a separate thought.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you just said that you crash if you get pulled over.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, what happens if you're in Uber and you get in an accident?
I've thought that forever. Like, if I get in one and I need to get to the airport in like 20 minutes, and then the Uber gets in a car accident, how much time do I need to let pass before it's like respectably okay for me to call another Uber so that I could get to the airport?
And awkwardly just shuffle over to the other car.
Right?
Yeah. If you get pulled over, does the clock keep running?
Well, Uber, I mean, at least
if you tell them go very fast, and they go very fast, and then they get pulled over, do they keep the clock running?
I mean,
they're like, it's his fault, sir.
That's more a taxi. Ubers are more a set time, but a good question being...
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's more based on
I've never
distance.
taken an Uber.
Oh my gosh. It's more based on like if you're going this far, then this is how much you pay. Like you pay
Sure.
when you order it.
Oh, wonderful. That sounds like a great deal.
That does, doesn't it? Except if you were driving from East Coast to West Coast, you're still right. The cost would be ridiculous.
You should try to plan that and see if anybody would take it. Can you go on Uber and just say, I would like to get from Boston to LA, please?
Let me just try really quick. So for everybody that's listening, because this will be very visual, I just want everyone to know, I have opened the Uber app, and this is going to be very helpful for you, question asker, because if you really don't want to road trip with your friends, if you're in an Uber, they don't have to talk to you. You can listen to your own music. They don't pee ever. They don't do anything other than drive the car. So
Uber drivers do not pee. That's a fact.
yeah, so you'll be fine because you don't have to worry about them pulling over, anything like that. All right, so I could get a car to my apartment in 5 minutes. From here to Los Angeles, Boston, everybody, to Los Angeles would be okay. It's telling me to confirm my pickup spot. I'm
I
very
appreciate the commitment.
I'm very nervous.
Do it. Do it for the podcast. Nobody's gonna accept it. Just do it. You can retract it. You can cancel it, right? You can cancel it.
What? Yeah, but holy shit.
What?
1.7 million?
No!
I'm gonna cancel
Are you
that.
joking? $1.7 million
To get me
Uber?
from Boston to Los Angeles with no stop, straight shot. I mean, yeah, 1.7 million. Because at that point, I'm not just charging them for the flight. I'm charging them for their goddamn week, and their food, their stops, their bathroom time.
No, there are no stops. There are no food.
Not even for you. Okay, never mind.
Oh, you're right, but they're not allowed to stop. They have to keep driving.
If they committed, then so did you. And
I need to get there in exactly 58 hours.
oh my god.
And I have the 2 mil, the 2 big ones to put down for it. My word, that's fantastic.
So if you ever win the lottery, one of the only things that you need to know that you can do is take an
You
Uber
are allowed to take an Uber
from East
across
Coast
the
to West
country.
Coast, and then maybe have some left over. We don't know yet.
That is the wildest thing I've ever heard. $1.7 million to Uber across the country. Where do we even start for this question? Oh, it's
they
the
don't
road
wanna,
trip.
Yeah, they don't want a road trip with their friends. Well, okay. Well, let's put it this way: would
Get
you
a better
rather
friend.
spend $1.7 million in a car with people that aren't your friends? And
If not, then suck it up, Buttercup.
I know that you're saying that you would rather just fly because it's easier, but bogus. It's not a road trip. If you fly, that's just a trip. Yeah, there's no road.
You're right. You're right.
So you can't.
It's not a road trip anymore.
You can't-
I think your friend would be kind of bummed if you're being passive aggressive and saying, "Want to take a road trip? Sure, I'll buy the flight tonight."
Exactly. They'd say, "Oh, you mean you just want to go on a trip?" And you said, "No, a road trip." They said, "If there's no road, it's no road trip. You just want to go on a trip. You're tripping right now." So, if you want to go on a road trip, would you rather go with your friends with minor stop inconveniences, or pay $1.7 million to have a guy that never talks to you never stop the entire
60
trip to
hours
Los
straight,
Angeles?
Yeah, absolutely. 2.5 days straight of driving.
I think it was 3 days for me and
No
my family when we went
way.
from LA to Chicago. So
Oh, that's a far way.
so double
You guys
that.
did stops and whatnot. Yeah.
So yeah, double that distance. Probably literally a week.
Oh boy. Want to take a road trip, Zane?
I really do.
Well, in lieu of us going on a road trip very soon, I want to say this is the end of our show where you got to go.
Oh no! And that's just because when we're in the car, we're gonna run out of Wi-Fi. And
I'm out the door. I got the fanny pack. I got the sunglasses.
wait
I
for
got
me.
I got the golden grill. The car is started.
I've
I
got-
hit the fob.
I've
What?
I brought the kayak. I have
It's
the
strapped on top. I already did it.
all the
Throw that kayak away.
all the Patagonia jackets.
Yeah,
Did you bring?
lots of them.
Did you bring?
Man, they're expensive, but I think it's for a good cause.
Did you bring the what's the thing that when you put it in the backpack, but it's got the straw that comes out and you drink in it? The Camelback.
Life straw. Camelback.
Yeah.
We got the Camelbacks. We got the Life Straws. We got the reusable mugs.
Did you get the
We
Slim Jims?
We have Slim Jims, Jack Links, and Nature's Wonder, which is jerky. That's not a brand. I just think it's Nature's Wonder.
Did you grab some DVDs for the DVD player in the back of our new Cadillac?
I did, but that's how I got into Fender Bender last week, Zane. We've been over this. I get too distracted when Despicable Me 2 is on.
I can't help that I love that movie so much.
Hey, guys, thank you to everybody who sent in questions. We really appreciate it. Once again, it's what keeps our podcast alive. Thank you to everybody who has listened for getting this far. We appreciate it. We love you all. We are fantastic. We are. What are my words? We are fantastic. That's it. This has been Save Your Bacon. My name is Will.
My name is Zane.
Guys, have a great rest of your week. See you next Monday. Take it easy. And if it's easy, take it twice.